Okay, guys, you've vision boarded, you've manifested, but have you ever tried a habits vision board? Here's how it works. You're going to go to getinhabit.com. You're going to think of your New Year's resolution. Maybe it's to sleep better or eat better, or exercise, or spend more time with friends. Whatever it is, think of that lofty goal and try to identify the specific tangible habits you would need to do to get to that goal. And so, what you can do is you can go to the habits library where you can shop for dozens of positive habits. So, maybe you want to improve your sleep, and there you would find that you could do that by investing in an eye mask, and you can look at the evidence for it and also see over here how much it might cost you to maintain that habit and how much time it would take you, etc. Some of my favorite habits, I love this one. It's walking 7,000 steps. Turns out we were lied to about the 10,000 steps benchmark. You don't have to go that hard. You can just walk 7,000 steps and get a ton of benefits. It's associated with a 47% risk reduction in all cause mortality. In other words, people who walked 7,000 steps a day died at a 50% less rate than people who didn't. So that's a very big deal. And when you read this kind of research, I feel like sometimes a parent will send it on WhatsApp, or you'll kind of read an article about it and you don't actually translate that into how you would actually get it done. But this site helps you figure it all out because it shows you how much it would cost, how much time it takes, and you can start to envision how you'd incorporate it into your life. This one is another one if you want to be more social and combat the loneliness epidemic in this country. You actually have to do specific habits to get there, and one of them you could consider is to regularly host people. And Priya Parker is the author of The Art of Gathering, and she recommends a magic number of 6 people you could host at a time for a small intimate gathering. And so if you're interested in that, you can go down the rabbit hole. You can look at videos, podcasts, different resources that will kind of get you in the zone and get you excited about doing any specific positive habit. And once you do that, you can add all of those habits that you're excited about. Any single habit that you're like, ooh, I want to be the kind of person who does that, you just hit add to roster, and then it shows up in your habits vision board. And here's what that looks like. So this is the habits vision board. You just create a free account to get there. And all of the cards I was excited about, I put right over here. It just shows up over here. And then you can drag it into your different kinds of routines. These are different variants. So let's say, for example, you can't do the same thing every day, right? You can't exercise 100 times a day. Okay, we just can't. But what you can do is you can have your specific routine for when you work from home, for when you work in person, for the weekend, for days when you're traveling for work, whatever it is. And you can start to build very specific scripts for how you would ideally want that day to go. And the coolest part is that when you're done, you can just click this button right here and download your ideal habit structure for a specific day and upload it to your Google Calendar. And when you do, it shows up over here. You get the title of that specific kind of day, and you start to see different combinations. So actually, one thing that I hadn't yet showed you is you can create habit recipes. So for example, let's say your goal is to walk 7,000 steps a day. That can seem really unattainable unless you know how long that takes you, right? But once you know that it takes on average 60 to 90 minutes, that's a lot more attainable because that's just 3 30-minute phone calls. Or let's say you want to do the Pomodoro productivity method, which is another really great habit. It's just 3 of those combined. And Pomodoro means tomato in Italian, and so I named that habit recipe ketchup. And now when I go in my Google Calendar, I can be reminded of my goal of walking 7,000 steps while being extraordinarily productive and making a zillions of dollars and stuff like that. And once you have it, then you can start to adjust for the actual time it would take you and compare it to your work calendar or whatever it is to start to slot these events into your everyday life. And that is how we stop just like manifesting and vision boarding and just leaving it there, and actually translate our goals, our very big, lofty goals for 2026, into real life events that show up in our calendar and remind us of the things that we want to do to make our lives better and richer and more connected. So let's do this. Let's get in habit in 2026, and I will see you there.